Hi, and thanks so much for joining me for my July favorites. We spent most of the time traveling and in different climates, so I have a lot of makeup that I traveled with. In fact, it's actually pretty curated because we were traveling, so I wanted to bring as few products as possible. Starting with foundations, I took a few, so again, depending on the climate. So for more humid climates, warmer climates, the BEIGES Water Fresh Tint by Chanel in, let's see, this one's in medium, plus I have several. This is the travel size version, but I didn't even take this. I decanted a little. So it does do a nice job of setting very nicely without a lot of powder. So like for my mom, she doesn't even powder when she uses this. I, of course, will powder in the center. I've got combo skin, but it's a really lovely one. So this was one of them. The other foundation, well, they're almost like hybrid products. The other products I traveled with were the CHANTECAILLE Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint, and this works really well under the eyes as well, and the CHANTECAILLE Anti-Aging Face Tint. Of course, I decanted these as well. I put half in one side and half in the other, a little container, and they didn't mix up, so I was able to keep them separated even within the same container. But I used this as my foundation, and I used this under the eye to help cut down on the amount of concealer I needed, and sometimes I would blend them, and sometimes I would go in with this. It's possible with more tan skin as well. It's just very glowy compared to this. Not in a chunky way, but there is glow here, so just know if you're going to combine them, you're going to be introducing some glow here. Of course, it's called Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint, but these were really great. And then the third one that I took with me is, if I can find it, I just had it. The third one that's more of a foundation and a concealer, or it's actually supposed to replace your foundation and concealer, is the Complexion Stick by Merit in Suede. So I use this under the eye, I use it all over my face, I use it as concealer. So this is great for drier climates. So I didn't use this one as much as I did the other ones in Hawaii, but those were the three that I had at my disposal. Before I move on to concealers, especially for the more humid climates, I used the Glow Recipe Strawberry BHA Pore Smooth Blur Drops, which also is a skincare product. It helps to blur pores. So I put this on underneath my makeup to help keep things in place, because especially with the humidity, when things start sliding around, this came really handy. So I just actually traveled with this whole thing. It's 1 fluid ounce. So it is definitely small enough to travel with. So I brought this on both trips with me. It was really nice, and I have it on today as well. Onto concealers, nothing new. I've got the Clé de Peau concealers. I have Honey and Mocha, so depending on how deep my skin tone is. Honey for when I'm lighter or my more typical shade, and then Mocha for when I'm more tan. I used both today, actually. So see that in the Get Ready With Me. And then I talked about that concealer in a recent video about Holy Grail concealers, and I explained why I love that one so much. Really easy to travel with as well. And then for under the eyes, I did not bring this whole Sublimage. I decanted some for under the eye area in 40. I didn't use this all the time, but it's more for evening makeup when I was trying to look a little bit more put together. This came really handy. And I also traveled with this on all my trips, the Camoflauge Stylo by Chantecaille in 4C. It has a built-in brush, so that's why it's so easy to travel with. You don't need an extra brush. It works really well in this area where I like to brighten, and depending on my tone, it's a really nice lightweight concealer for even my dark spots. But if you don't have too much to cover and want something lightweight, this is a really nice fluid kind of concealer. Now for brows, of course, I took the Dior Show Onset Brow in 032, and I actually didn't need to add pencil that much. For some reason, my hair seems to have grown in quite a bit. In fact, I was getting lots of hairs down here, which I don't normally get, and I had to take care of those. But then I also took this out of all of my eyebrow pencils. I have some that are really precise, but they tend to be more waxy. So it seems like the more narrow the pencil is, the more waxy the consistency is. I have a feeling it has to do with the physical structure of that pencil, because I'm guessing a more powdery one probably is harder to get into that more narrow pencil size. So I brought this. This is the Gucci pencil that I've tried. I've talked about this quite a bit, and I still really love it. It has a different effect on the brows though. I use this mainly to fill in, so not to be precise, but to fill in any sparse areas. So you'll see how pretty full they are with this, but there are still some little spaces that needed filling. So this helps to define that bottom part and then also to fill in. And this has more of a powdery formula, which works really great when it's more humid and my skin gets more oily. It likes this kind of a pencil versus a waxier pencil. I've been loving Victoria Beckham products, and I brought this with me, even though contour I think seems like an extra step and not something that's normally a basic step in makeup, but because it kind of hovers between the shade of a contour and a bronzer, I used it as a bronzer as well. Not on my forehead, but I used it under the cheekbones. I used it on my nose. I used it up here to give a little bit of definition as well. Really easy to travel with. I love this one. I don't know how much I have left, but I feel like I use this a lot. Oh, little goes a long way because I still have quite a bit left, and I feel like I use this pretty much daily. So I used that when I put on makeup. And then Trench here came in really handy to cancel out any redness right under my eyelashes there. Very much the color of my skin tone right in this area. I also did bring the Victoria Beckham highlighter. It's one of these funny products that, oh, I still have a lot left. When it first came out, I read about all its wonderful claims, and I thought, okay, I was expecting, I think something, I don't know what I was expecting from this. I think I was expecting more and something else. And I didn't see it right away, but the more I use this, the more I realized how much I love it, how subtle the glow is, and how skin flattering this product is, which is why I really enjoy it. So, brought that as well. In fact, I brought that over this one. I still love this one, the Chanel one, the Sculpting, but it's just, the Sculpting one is bigger in size overall. Just the package, I don't know if the weight is the same, but the packaging itself is larger. So I wanted to go as compact as possible, but I really like this one. I used it in the blush demonstration that I did with Jersey, which I have on today actually. So I mixed Jersey and the Victoria Beckham highlighter, which was something that you let me know worked. So I wanted to try it out for you today. So speaking of blush, Jersey has been a favorite of mine. It's on my cheeks now. It gives a lovely, especially when I have a tan like this, a lovely sun-kissed kind of look. I went a little bit farther up with my blush, kind of like as if the sun had hit. Yeah, this is my other blush that I've been using. The Valentino blush. I love this one so much. I've hit pan already. Definitely need another one. Like that is a really rare thing here, but it just has the most lovely balance of color. It's not too intense, but it does provide color, and it has just the slightest glow to it. So it's a very skin enhancing kind of powder product versus any of the other, like even Jersey has more detectable particles in it than the Valentino. So if you know Jersey and you want this effect but not as much of a glowy element, then Valentino is much more fine. And I didn't really travel with eyeliner or took time to put on eyeliner on vacation, but I did go in with mascara. I always put mascara on. If there's anything that's going to make my eyes look like I did something to them, it's mascara. It's going to be brows actually and mascara. Even any color on the eyes, I could skip that before I could skip mascara. So love this one. Actually bought 2 more of those. Then I have 3 lip products I've been loving. These won't be surprises because I've been talking about them a lot, and I traveled with all 3. So depending on what level of color I wanted on my lips was how I chose. So Jete by Merit, which is one of the newer ones to me. I love this because it adds a little bit of color, but it's very translucent also. Just makes your face look awake. And then I've got here Tanline by Victoria Beckham. I love this one, but I think I'm too actually tan for this one right now, even though it's called Tanline. But when I'm more of my typical color, this works really well. And then this one is what I have on now, this Chanel, the Rouge Cocoa Gloss in 716 Caramel. So I feel like even though I said this was more mauvey and deeper than I expected, it actually works quite well with my current tan. So this is one I have on now. This one is probably the most sheer, and then we've got this one in terms of opacity, and then this one is the most opaque, but it's still a gloss. But if you want more coverage with a gloss, this one's beautiful. Okay, on to powders. There are 3 powders that I've been kind of rotating through. One is, I just had it, where did it go? Oh, I ordered another one too, a new one, so I don't have to keep showing you this broken one. This is the CHANTECAILLE Perfect Blur Powder, and it does work really nicely on even more tan. I was actually going to get the one that I have, the medium deep. I don't know where it is though, but I tried this and it seemed to work fine. The other one that I like for very lightweight this is more for evening when I'm not going to be out in the heat, is the Chanel Le Beige in number 30. And let's put a little bit on now because I feel like I could use a little bit of color in just a couple spots. One of you let me know that it hard panned on you, and I did get a little bit of that, but I was able to just kind of wipe it away. But I don't get that with the Perfect Blur powder, but I did get a little bit of that here. So just know, yeah, I got that too, but not something that will keep me from using that product. Then I have this product, which is the product that I said I'm not sure why I bought this for the third time. It's the Face Defender by Mally. I think they have updated packaging, but this is the one that's a no powder, and I've been trying it for a few months now, or at least a couple months. And do you see that little bit that I took? I dug some of it out and I put it in a little container. So I decanted it, and I took that with me and brought a little, not this one, but a small concealer brush. Was it this one? I don't know. It was one of the, oh no, it was this one. I brought this little Ray Morris concealer brush with me, and I would take a little bit of that out of the container I brought, and then I would just pat it on, especially when it was sunscreen. So that seemed to be the time I was really using that, was on top of sunscreen. But we can add a little now just to see. I'll show you if you haven't seen it before, but it's like, don't dig, don't try to scrape it out, but you have to just tap gently. And either someone told me, maybe it was one of you, or I read it, that you could use also, instead of that sponge that I think gets really grimy, is a brush. So just using a concealer brush and then patting it like this. Did the job. I don't know if it's a better job than the sponge, but I didn't want to take that sponge with me. And it seemed too difficult to clean traveling, so I just took this little concealer brush with me. I have definitely had better luck with this time because I feel like I was trying to actually see the product versus seeing the result of the product. And that was the problem before. I think it was my error. I was not using it properly. So yeah, just know that you're gonna look for the results of the product if you pick it up versus the actual, you won't see the product on the brush. But you'll see that it just slightly takes down the glow wherever you add it. Yeah, you can definitely see it actually right here. It's pretty clear that it takes down the glow. And right above my eyebrows, that's a really good spot for it, because I can get shiny right there. And I forgot to mention this palette by Chanel, the Le Beige in medium. Then for skincare, I decanted this because I love a cleansing balm, especially when I travel and I'm using heavy duty sunscreen. The Milk Makeup cleansing balm, the Hydro Ungrip Makeup Removing Cleansing Balm, worked really nicely. So I just took a little bit of this with me. It lasted 2 weeks for me and worked really well. And then I went in with a cleanser. So I'm going to put a picture here because I don't have the actual container because I used them all up, but it's this size. It's the Chanel Mousse cleanser. I really like that. So that one of these sizes lasts me almost a week. So I should have taken 3 of these with me for 2 weeks. That's how much I needed. And then I can tell you about how long each of these other containers lasted me. So loved that cleanser. Actually, I kind of used all Chanel products for my face, not my face care, my skincare, because I do have these small sample sizes that I love for travel. And this is not the exfoliator that I use, the toner, but it was this size. So that's another thing where I took 2 of them and it was not enough. I probably needed 3 or maybe even 4. This one, the exfoliator goes much faster. It's more fluid. I use it with a cotton pad. So that's one of the reasons why I think it goes faster as well. So I think 2 per week would have been great for that, but it's a nice product. And then, oh yeah, I did bring this, but I hardly used it because I hardly put on a lot of eye makeup, but I brought their eye makeup remover, which is really lovely, Chanel's eye makeup remover. Then I think eye cream is one of the hardest things to travel with in terms of decanting, so I brought these. These are already like in small portions, and they are by Chanel. So I took the Lift for the daytime, and then I used the Sublimage eye cream for the evening. They're both lovely. I would definitely recommend them. They didn't interfere with anything else that I was putting on my face, especially for the day. And then this is the Lift Nuit, but the regular lid lift is what I used for the day, and I used one. So one lasted me for 2 weeks. And then I brought this too for the evening, the Sublimage, the Crème Lumière. And I use this in the evening, and one of these lasted me for 2 weeks as well. So this is what I decanted most things in. This teeny tiny little, when I say I decanted, it was this little container with a flip top. And the reason why I like this, although I don't love it all the time, because sometimes if you overfill it, it won't actually close. Not because there isn't enough room, but something is happening with the air, like in a physics way, where it won't allow you to close it and seal it. It'll actually do this by itself. So I think there's something going on with like the ratio of air in there. I'm not quite sure, but I noticed if I overfill these, it doesn't close. I like this because when I open this, the lid doesn't roll everywhere, which is typically what happens to me when I have anything in this jar type format. If the lid is separate, it will fall off and roll on the floor, and then I have to clean and sanitize everything. This way, the lid is right there. So this is the gold mask by Chantecaille that I bring with me when I travel, and I still have some left. I didn't use it every day. I used it like maybe 4 days, and I still have more. So this might actually last me a week, something like this, the gold mask, the gold recovery mask. And then for SPF, what I brought was the Color Science Total Eye. I brought this with me. It does a little bit of concealing for me as well as SPF protection. And then I brought, oh, I gave that one to my husband because he was gonna use it, but I'll put a picture or I'll just list it below. But it's the Color Science Matte. That seemed to work the best in more humid climates. Out of all the SPF products I have, that's the one that I brought because I was kind of like trying to figure out which one's going to come with me and do the best job, and it was that one. And because it doesn't slide around, because it is more matte SPF. So I really like that one. It's tinted as well. And then, oh yeah, this cleanser too by Elemis. It's for the days we were home, I wanted to physically exfoliate. So there's this Elemis Pro Collagen Glow Booster Exfoliator. It's really lovely. So it does have particles in it, so you can feel the granules, but you can also feel that they're not abrasive. They're not harsh on the skin. They do have a very smooth, round surface to them. So I really enjoy this one. Yeah, it's a gentle exfoliating balm. Will leave your face feeling irresistibly smooth, hydrated, and instantly radiant. It's really nice. I've been using this on and off, like I said, when we were home. And now that we've been back, I've been using that every other day or so. And I always just monitor my skin to see how sensitive it's feeling or if I need to take a break from something. So I don't do all of my skincare all of the time that I show you. It really depends on how it behaves. And like right now, it's more on the dry side, especially right here. So I take a little bit of the Gold Recovery Mask at night and I add it right there where I'm feeling really dry. So just know that I also spot treat areas depending on how that specific part of my face is behaving. Oh yeah, and then topicals. Of course, I brought the topicals with me. And it seems like now that I'm losing my tan, my spots are also getting lighter. I don't know. We'll keep watching it, but I feel like they actually look pretty good right now. I thought they'd look worse after all the exposure to the sun, even with SPF, but they're looking pretty good. And I do have some fashion favorites like this. I did bring a very condensed wardrobe with me, and there were items that I used more than others and things that I was really happy I had with me, including this dress by Frank and Eileen. It's the Rory dress, and this is in the cotton voile, so it's more sheer. I use this a lot, and then if I had to hand wash it, it was really easy to just hang to dry, really quickly dried. I'd read that cotton voile dries slower, but actually dried quite quickly, at least this dress did. And then I had the Intimissimi camisole and shorts pairing, so I brought a couple of those. I use those as sleeper as well, so those are really nice. My willow blouse is something I've been wearing on repeat. I know there's a deeper shade, maybe I should get that as well, but it's been really versatile. I could wear it with shorts, I can wear it with skirts, so I love that one. I brought only 3 pairs of shoes with me on all of the trips. So my On sneakers, well, actually I used my Adidas sneakers, so some pair of sneakers, but I really liked the Ons because again, I started working out. And oh, I started working out here too. And we're just waiting to set up a gym because we're gonna move some things around. But for now I'm using the P-Volve, which I really like because I guess it's like, is it a favorite for July? I'm gonna talk about it now because I am using that every day. It's an online program. I actually was introduced to it by Chantecaille, so they kindly gifted us, I think, a subscription or some kind of classes something, some kind of trial for it, and it's I think they have gyms in person, but also they have on-demand classes where you can just click on it and go. But I like that they focus on stability and the core and balance. I really like that, and I'm working on my core, so I like their approach. Oh yeah, so we worked out every day. So I used the On shoes for the treadmill and just for traveling in the plane. Then I bring a pair of flip-flops because I don't ever go barefoot in the hotel room. I always have my flip-flops on, and I bring the Vionics. I'll see if I can find them because they have arch support unlike other flip-flops that I've used. So I like those, and they're great for the beach, they're great for the pool. And then I also brought my lower piano sandals. So I thought if I need to dress something up, then I feel like this is dressy enough. It's not flip-flops, but it's still flat, doesn't take up much room, and goes with everything. So I brought those, and I did use those as well. So those were the only 3 pairs I brought with me on all my trips. And flip-flops always go back to the suitcase, so they're already ready to go the next time I travel. Then the Lululemon leggings, the Align leggings with the pocket worked really well, especially for going through the airport because I'd put my phone and my ID in there. For when you have to take that out and show it, it was ready to go, and I could seal everything in my backpack when I was done with that, and everything was going through screening. So I really liked that it was quick access to that, and the pockets are quite deep, so that I knew that they weren't going to slide out on accident. So I really liked that they had pockets and they were very comfortable. And then I also doubled up and used that to work out in once we got to Kauai. And then finally the sweater, cocoon cotton sweater, I loved that one because even though Hawaii was really hot and humid, there were some times where there was like a storm coming through. It was cooler or in the evenings. So I was glad to have that, or indoors. I was glad to have that. It was really cozy, and I love that sweater. I think I'm going to invest in the cashmere version once it gets cooler. But that has been one of my most worn products, both on vacation and then just in general. And I do have 2 of them, so an outside version and an inside version. I really love that one. But let me know what you've been loving for the month of July. I know many of you stayed home. Some of you traveled, so let me know what you either took with you that was an essential for travel, because I always like to get down to the most essential products and nothing extra. So I'd love to know what those things are. Or if you stayed home, I'd love to know what you are lounging around in, what you're most comfortable in. Comfort is highly, highly important to me. So I'd love to know what the most comfortable clothing is out there, or comfortable shoes that you've been wearing this summer. But that is it for today's video. So please take care of each other, stay well if you enjoyed this video. If you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time.